afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Fire Your MD Now radio show. This is not Dr. Peter Glidden. Filling in for him today, this is Mike Phillip coming at you live from rainy and chilly Camrose, Alberta. Now, before that break, I was getting into a story about this little 3-year-old girl from St. Albert, Alberta here, right outside of Edmonton. And this girl has this rare condition where she has no enzymes in her stomach. So, she can't break down the food that she's eating properly to get the necessary nutrients that her body needs. And before that, we were discussing the ridiculous costs associated with socialized healthcare. A lot of times Americans look at Canada enviously thinking we have this free healthcare system and it just can do no wrong. Well, there's a lot of rot under the floorboards, let me tell you, and it's all crashing down. And this is one of the reasons. So you have this girl. The province wasn't going to fund giving her a drug because the drug costs $300,000 or more per year for a child. It's tied to weight, and it can rise to $1 million a year for adults, okay? Now, this girl is not suffering from a drug deficiency, okay? She's suffering because she has no enzymes in her stomach. And now, even if you eat all the right things all the time and live healthy as much as possible, you are still not going to get the necessary nutrients that you need from your food. Why? Soil's depleted. Look at a geological survey map of the United States in areas that are rich with selenium. It's not everywhere. Depending on where your food was grown, it could be missing key components that you need. So here we are, $300,000 a year to give this little girl so that she can live, which I'm not opposed to, but $30 bottle of enzymes through longevity. The Sedonics have been working with the province since the spring after Alina was diagnosed with Moreto-Lamy syndrome, known as MPS 6. MPS 6 patients lack the enzyme in blood that breaks down cellular waste. The waste then accumulates in the bones, tissues, and organs, leading to stiffened joints, heart and airway blockages, and potential death. Now, if it were me and I were dad, I would get this little girl on a healthy start pack, ultimate enzymes, a bottle of gut flora, and we've just turned $300,000 a year on drugs that are never going to cure her. Let me say that again, they're never going to cure her. She's always going to have this condition just to keep going. All right, we've just turned that into a few $100s. And now here's the beautiful thing about it. This family could make the money back, every cent that they paid, and then some, because longevity is set up to put the money in your pocket. I have not paid for vitamin supplements in over a year. It took me 3 months listening to people that have done it before me and following their advice and just getting out there and talking to my friends and neighbors and whatnot. And I got to tell you, sometimes I drive people nuts. I'm so obsessed with longevity, but I know this. Anyways, this family could get it back. They could get it all back, and the province wouldn't have to pay for it, and the little girl would be very healthy. So her dad says, we initially just thought she had arthritis because it runs in our family. Oh, look at that. We can not only help your daughter, we can get rid of your arthritis as well. In fact, we don't get rid of it. You will, by giving your body what it needs. So, we're going to go to another story here. This is at PreventDisease.com by Dave Mihalovic. There are 12 medical tests and procedures now being questioned worldwide as unnecessary and potentially cause sometimes harmful results to patients. You want to talk about wasting money. This is crazy. Since the campaign was launched last year, more than 130 tests and procedures have been called into question by 25 medical specialty societies with more than 500,000 member doctors. Millions of Americans are increasingly realizing that when it comes to health care, more is not necessarily better. says Dr. Christine Castle, president of the ABIM Foundation. Through these lists of tests and procedures, we hope to encourage conversations between physicians and patients about what they truly need. The United States Specialty Societies, representing more than 500,000 physicians, develop lists of 5 things physicians and patients should question in recognition of the importance of physicians and patient conversations to improve care and eliminate unnecessary tests and procedures. Now, here's the problem. Somebody somewhere is getting paid big bucks for all these unnecessary MRIs and CAT scans and, so somebody's not going to like what I'm saying somewhere. There's a lot of money involved, and doctors a lot of times are pressured to put you through these tests when you don't need them, through kickbacks or whatever. So I'm going to read off a few of these. Avoiding inducing labor, number 1, or C-section before 39 weeks. Delivery prior to 39 weeks is associated with increased risk of learning disabilities, respiratory problems, and other potential risks. So, in order to make a few dollars and do some extra stuff that we don't need to, we're going to risk damaging your child. Number 2, avoid routine annual Pap tests. In average risk women, routine annual Pap tests offer no advantage, and that's from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Number 3, avoid CT scans to evaluate minor head injuries. Approximately 50% of children who visit hospital emergency departments with head injuries are given a CT scan. CT scanning is associated with radiation exposure that may escalate future cancer risk. So they're going to give you a future cancer risk because you bumped your head playing hockey. CT technology exposes patients to approximately 100 times the radiation of a standard chest X-ray, which itself increases the risk of cancer. The recommendation calls for clinical observation prior to making a decision about needing a CT, and that is the American Academy of Pediatrics. Number 4, avoid stress tests using echocardiographic images. The recommendation states that there is very little information on the benefit of using stress echocardiography in asymptomatic individuals for the purposes of, pardon me, sorry about that, I lost my spot. You know what, we're going to go to the phone lines right now. We've got Michelle in Iowa. Michelle, can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. How are you today, Michelle?
I am doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's I worked in radio a long time ago, and then I've been a longevity distributor, but before that I worked on trucks. And so I'm always, I'm going to level with you. I'm a little bit nervous doing this show, but I've been listening to GCN for about 13 years. It's a great honor to be here, and it is a great honor to talk to you, Michelle. What is on your mind?
Yeah, so I was actually calling to find out what course of action you would suggest for myasthenia gravis.
Can you describe that situation to me, please?
Sure. It's an autoimmune disease that affects your muscles. It makes your muscles weak, kind of like you're paralyzed.
Okay. Autoimmune disease.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. See, in the naturopathic view, a lot of autoimmune disease is basically labeled that because they just don't know how to deal with it or what to do. My suggestion to you, okay, and if you want to get more technical on this, you can call back when Dr. Glidden is actually hosting the show. But what you can do, and another thing you can do, you can go to drpeterglidden.com and search that term for your condition, and it will come up with a radio show where he's specifically taking that on. But autoimmune diseases are a nutritional deficiency. End of story. What we need to do, are you familiar with longevity, Michelle?
I am. My boyfriend, Jason, got me into it, and we actually just signed up to be distributors on Saturday.
Just Saturday, hey?
This Saturday.
That is great. So what are you taking right now?
Well, I just actually started taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Peach.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I was taking it, and I was doing a lot of activity. And today I haven't taken any yet today, and today I noticed that I am feeling weak. So I do know that the products are helping.
That's interesting. Very interesting. My wife, you sound like you're really young, Michelle. Am I correct?
Not really.
Well, you sound like it.
37.
Anyhow, 30. Okay, well, you know what? You're the same age as us, as me and my wife. We're in that same ballpark. But she had the same thing going on where she was feeling weak in her muscles, and she had a lot of really bad joint pain. Now, we had her on a Healthy Start Pack and a few other things for a long time, and she was still getting some pain in her ankles and swelling and whatnot. But through trial and error, we tried out the HGH complex, the HGH Youth Complex, and that's on capsules and whatnot for longevity. And if you're experiencing weakness in muscles, I believe that would be the way to go. And how you take that is about six capsules before you go to sleep. And I'm running on a hunch here. I'm not Dr. Glidden. I'm just filling in for him, but I really think that would help you out with your energy level. I know it definitely has for me. So is this something that you've had your whole life, or was it a recent diagnosis, or what do you got going on there?
I was diagnosed with it when I was 12, and then I went into remission when I was 16, but I was told that I would never regain 20% of my muscle usage. And it's not
never say never.
Yeah.
Never say never. I hear the music, Michelle. I hear the music, so we're going to go to a commercial break, but if you hang on, I'll talk to you again on the other side. We are back on the Fire Your MD Now radio show, and have I still got Michelle in Iowa?
You do.
Great. Now, here's what Dr. Glidden would recommend for your condition. One healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. All right?
Okay.
Now, are you on the 10 bad food list?
I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm starting all this up now, so I'm going to get to that and avoid those foods.
Okay, absolutely do that. Absolutely. Now, we're also going to recommend that you take 1 bottle of Ultimate Selenium per 50 pounds body weight per month. Okay? Also, we want to get you doing the glucose gel caps, and that's 1 per 10 pounds body weight per day. So if you're 120 pounds, that's 12 of those little puppies. And you're not going to have to do that forever, just until things balance out, and then you can, get on a maintenance deal. But, like with me and my wife, every time we try something new with longevity, like I just ordered about $420 worth of stuff, and we just can't get enough of it. It's absolutely insane. Another thing, do you eat eggs?
I do, but not as many as I should.
Okay, yeah, you need that protein. The egg is nature's perfect food, and that protein is absolutely essential. So get on that 10 bad food list, okay? And we want to put you on a bottle of glucose gel caps per 100 pounds body weight per month, a bottle of Ultimate Selenium per 50 pounds body weight per month, and 1 Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds body weight per month. And you know what? You are going to see some crazy changes in your health, in your mood, in your energy level over the next few months. It's just insane. Now, my wife, we were talking about that Ultimate Selenium, right? Well, she has never dyed her hair, and it's really long. And since she's been taking that Ultimate Selenium for the last few years, she has hair that every woman dreams of. It's got like natural blonde streaks, copper, auburn, red. It's just insane, and she's very beautiful. Also, if you haven't looked around yet on the Youngevity website, I strongly recommend to all women out there, if you wear makeup, look into the Youngevity mineral makeups. They make my wife just radiant. And they actually healed up little blemishes on her face. She never gets anything on her face at all as far as blemishes or anything like that anymore. So welcome to the world of Youngevity, Michelle. I'm so glad you're on board. Now, what's the story with Jason?
He's on board as well. He's been taking Youngevity products, I believe, for over 2 years now, and he loves them. And he had me doing my research, and I looked into it, and I just so excited to get started.
Absolutely. Now, if you go to drpeterglidden.com, click radio, you will have a list of conditions on the right-hand side of the right-hand side of the screen. I almost said street. And you can click on any one of those, and it'll bring up a YouTube video of him addressing those issues specifically. And not only that, but if you'll subscribe to his webinars, I think it's $12 a month or something like that. But the webinars are just dynamite. They are so packed with information. I've learned more just from listening to Dr. Glidden than I think from anybody else ever in my life. It's absolutely amazing, the information that, that guy possesses. But there's no reason that we can't have that. There's no reason that any one of us should ever have to have type 2 diabetes or, muscle pain, joint pain, any of these things. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, you follow this thing right to the nines, it is going to change your life, Michelle. That sound good?
That sounds wonderful. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Right on. It was great talking to you, Michelle. I'm going to let you go. Get that 10 bad food list and get on it. And if you ever feel like calling back in, if there's any problems, Dr. Glidden will be able to handle it. You're listening to Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden on the Fire Your MD Now radio show on the Genesis Communications Network. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Fire Your MD Now radio show. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, who is probably off saving somebody from their doctor. Call-in number is 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. Now, before we talk to Michelle in the last segment, I was going over this list of medical procedures that have found to be not only unnecessary, not only expensive, but they actually hurt and kill people. Now, the American Geriatric Society is saying avoid prescribing type 2 diabetes medication to achieve tight glycemic control. Aren't they on the ball? Hey, I mean, Dr. Wallach only figured out how long ago that chromium and vanadium would, anyways. The recommendation states that there is no evidence that using medicine to tightly control blood sugar in older diabetics is beneficial. In fact, using medications to strictly achieve low blood sugar levels is associated with harms, including higher mortality rates. Now, this one's from the Society of Hospital Medicine. Avoid routinely treating acid reflux. Yeah, see, now that's another one of them hand to the forehead kind of deals, because Dr. Wallach has been talking about this forever. Anti-reflux therapy, which is commonly prescribed in adults, has no demonstrated effect in reducing the symptoms of gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, in infants, and there is emerging evidence that it may in fact be harmful in certain situations. Now, I had acid reflux disease so bad that I had to have the extra strength Zantac in my truck at all times when I went to work. And, while I was chowing down these Zantacs constantly, I was eating foods that were making the problem worse, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So, I mean, acid reflux, that's an easy one. Take a tablespoon of cider vinegar with your meals and quit trying to kill the acid in your stomach because it's supposed to be there. Avoid mammograms. Mammograms and breast screening have no impact on breast cancer deaths, even though they'll tell you that on the commercials. Talk to your doctor regularly. You know what I mean? Get tested, get a mammogram, so that we can catch it. Well, once they catch it, what are they going to do? They don't even know how all they can do is remove the breast. With toxic radiation, mammogram testing compresses sensitive breast tissue, causing pain and possible tissue damage. To make matters worse, the false negative and false positive rates of mammography are a troubling 30 to 89% respectively. I don't know how that can be respectable at all. Another concern is that many breast cancers can occur under the armpit. However, mammography completely misses this axillary region, viewing only the breast tissue compressed between the two plates of glass. Considering these drawbacks, breast thermography should be given closer consideration. Thermography is a non-invasive and non-toxic technique. And I'm not going to get into that because I don't know what Dr. Glidden's opinion is on that. But, it's just insane. Number 11, avoid routine colorectal cancer screening. Colorectal cancer screening often results in unnecessary removal of benign polyps, which are of no threat to patients, and the risks of their treatment or removal far exceed any benefit. The evidence is insufficient to assess the benefits and harms of computed tomographic colonography and fecal DNA testing as screening modalities for colorectal cancer. And I know people who have fallen for this scam. Now, I'd like to remind everybody to go to the Ontario Association of Naturopathic Doctors website. That's OAND.com, and sign their petition to go to the Premier of Ontario to basically push this Bill 179, the Naturopathy Act, to loosen up some of the restrictions. He's a science advocate. And, yeah. Anyways, I hear music. It sounds like, are we going to a commercial? Okay, I don't hear. All right, it must have been a mistake. Yeah, this guy's biggest credential is that he's a science advocate. Is that, I don't know what that is, like if you're a card-carrying science advocate or what. But basically, Huffington Post, and I'm a little bit disappointed. Not that I expect a whole lot out of Huffington Post anyways, but over the years I have seen a lot of favorable articles towards naturopathic doctors and homeopathy, chiropractors, sacrocranial therapy, which my cousin in Red Deer does, incidentally. Big shout out and hello to Jamie. This guy just goes on to basically bash naturopaths, and he talks about how dangerous it is that we give them medical freedom. Medical freedom to naturopaths is dangerous. Well, if you look at the facts, doctors kill a lot more people every year than naturopaths. I would like to see him come up with one incidence of a death due to a treatment from a naturopath. Just one. Just one. You're being taken to the woodshed, Michael Cruz. Yeah, so, I went in the comments section and unloaded on this guy basically because, it's just insane. It's really crazy. It is so easy to find incidences. Ricardo Romero, was supposed to have been an ordinary back operation, turning a strong man helpless. Ricardo Romero had always led an active, strenuous life. Father of 3, worked as a dock foreman loading fuel onto ships, hunted and fished on weekends. Then in the summer of '97, Romero suffered a herniated disc on his job. After months of pain, referred by his doctor to orthopedic surgeon Dr. Merriman, W. Baker, and on July 15, 1998, this is a ways back, Romero calmly entered Columbia Kingwood Medical Center near a suburban Houston home for what was described as a fairly routine operation. We thought when you go to a reputable hospital, recalls his wife, Dolores, at 40, you'll be looked after. Well, there's another one, hey? Instead, Romero, now 45, experienced uncontrolled blood loss and, after an allegedly delayed transfusion, went into cardiac arrest. He was left brain damaged, cognitively impaired, unable to walk without braces, incontinent, and legally blind. He will not be able to work again and requires 24-hour care. In April 2000, the Romeros won a $40.6 million negligence award against the hospital. Baker and anesthesiologist Dr. William Scott Huey. Pardon me, a little frog in my throat. At the trial, it emerged that Baker, who still practices in Texas, was addicted to prescription drugs. He had operated on the wrong limb on 2 occasions, assaulted his ex-wife, and threatened suicide the week before Romero's surgery. So this guy was a nut, but he probably had MD on his license plate, so everybody bows down as he drives by. That this doctor is allowed to continue to practice medicine is inexcusable, says Dan Lamb, executive director of Texas Watch, a consumer group. The defendants wouldn't comment. Last January, however, an appeals court reversed the decision, ruling that while the hospital had erred in employing Baker and keeping him on, the charge that it had done so maliciously central to the case had not been proved. The Romeros are appealing in turn. Meanwhile, Dolores has quit her job as a bank teller to care for her husband, who after 2 years of intensive physical therapy can now partially dress himself and eat with a fork or spoon. I no longer have a life of my own, Dolores says. I miss being a wife. I miss the intimacy. It's all gone. Now it's like I have another child. So, you got a guy that likes to hunt, likes to fish, father of 3, loving husband, dock worker, strong guy, goes in for a routine operation, and it turns out this doctor was a drug addict and had twice removed the wrong limb before that. Basically ruined his life and the life of his wife. You want another one? How about Mike Hurwitz? He gave part of his liver to his ailing brother and then died of complications. To Mike Hurwitz, donating a lobe of his liver to save his brother Adam's life was not an act of heroism. It was simply the right thing to do. Liver transplants are safe for most donors whose organs quickly regenerate, but the 57-year-old Albany, New York newspaper reporter took no chances. For weeks before the January 10, 2002 surgery at Manhattan's Mount Sinai Hospital, he and his wife, Vicki, 52, slept separately because she had battled colds and flu all winter. He said, "I don't want you to make me sick," she recalls. Apparently doing well the day after the transplant, Hurwitz was savoring a lobster dinner. It would be his last meal. Next morning, he complained of nausea. A day later, he was vomiting bile. "I've got 3 things going on. I can't deal with this," Vicki claims. A ward nurse cried when family members called for help. As Hurwitz began spitting out blood, staffers rushed in, but it was too late. "I said they killed him," Vicki recalls. "They killed him." Mount Sinai President Dr. Larry Hollier says Hurwitz died of an infection unrelated to his surgery or post-surgical care, but forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, whom Vicki hired to review the autopsy, disagrees. It was a progressive infection starting from the time of the surgery that went undiagnosed and untreated. The state suspended Mount Sinai's live liver transplant program until last March, after the hospital agreed to boost overburdened staff. Meanwhile, Adam, 56, a physician, recovered, and Vicki is suing Mount Sinai. "I walk around feeling like I'm half dead," she says. "Mike was the focus of my life." And that is the deal. People are making money, but people are dying. They're killing people. And I've told this story before, but I can't believe it. It kills me every time I think about it. A guy I know his mother went for to get checked for breast cancer. They promptly told her she had it, and why wouldn't she listen, right? The guy had a white coat and a stethoscope, keys to a Maserati on the desk, right? And so, they did a mastectomy, removed that breast, and the wound never healed. And it came out later on after she went to another doctor who looked at the preliminary results that she never had breast cancer. Well, she died. And this happens all the time. You want another one? Stephanie Valdez. A forgotten roll of surgical gauze left an infection that ravaged her body and her life. Left alone with 2 children after a 97 divorce, Stephanie Valdez had her tubes tied. I thought I'd never marry again, she says. 3 years later, the Dallas area phone company rep met a man who wanted kids, so on September 19, 2000, she had her tubal ligation reversed. We will finish this story after the break. I'll be back. Welcome back to the Fire Your MD Now radio show. We are live, coming at you from Camrose, Alberta. This is not Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Mike Phillip filling in for him today. He's off doing important Dr. Peter Glidden stuff. And before the break, I was talking about the story of this Stephanie Valdez, who she went to get her tubes tied, and soon after she developed severe abdominal pain. Blaming cysts, her surgeon removed an ovary and a fallopian tube. Just keep pulling stuff out. Hey, we'll hit it sooner or later. But the real culprit was a roll of gauze he left in her pelvic cavity and overlooked in the follow-up surgery. It festered for nearly a year, causing a raging infection. That's like, I don't know whether to call that stupid or negligent or what. She was dying in front of our eyes, says her mother, Kathy Orsbund, 53, with whom Valdez lived with her fiancé. Left and she grew too old to work or care for her kids, now 11 and 13. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Now that I have thoroughly depressed all of you, I would like to talk about some more fun things. Specifically, I am the kind of guy who likes to have a good time. And every now and then, I tilt back a few. I enjoy the occasional snort around Christmas, if you know what I mean. Now, here's the deal. Tangy Tangerine, the new stuff, 2.0, goes absolutely great with Bombay Gin. And it's gluten-free. There's nothing in the 10 bad foods list. And try it out. You'll be the last man standing at the end of the night. And guess what else? No hangovers. Not joking. Tangy Tangerine kills a hangover dead. Like right now. We have a little bit of time. If you want to call in, the number is 866-582-9933. And I'd like to encourage my fellow longevity reps out there to not give up. Don't lose hope. Keep talking to people. As Dr. Glidden likes to say, you can't throw a stick in this country, I should say continent, without it landing near somebody that's sick or knows somebody that's sick. I mean, I talk to people all the time. I was walking into a local tavern here to talk to a friend, and I ran into a guy that he got out of a brand new Mustang. I mean, this thing was beautiful. It wasn't just your run-of-the-mill, right? He got the deluxe package on everything. But he was walking with a walker. And he was pretty shaky, and I held the door open for him. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, I know that I don't know you, but if I don't mean to pry, but do you have Parkinson's?" And he said, "Yes, I do. I do have Parkinson's disease." And I said, "Well, you're driving a pretty fancy car." He says, "That was my last thing to enjoy before I die. And I'm just waiting to die now." So, I said to him, "Look, you don't have to die. How would you like to have your car and be able to walk again?" But here's the deal. The well is so thoroughly poisoned. There's so much erroneous information out there. I mean, I got into longevity through listening to Alex Jones for a lot of years. I am a fan of Alex Jones. It's not even so much, Alex. I do enjoy when he goes on a big rant. But, you know, he goes on and on about, you know, high fructose corn syrup and these things. A lot of that stuff isn't really even a big deal. I mean, you know, if you drink 6 buckets of sugar a day, sugar's going to be a problem. But for the most part, sugar is your best friend. And how do I know this? Because I watched a webinar on sugar with Dr. Peter Glidden. Without sugar, you couldn't even blink your eyelid. You would have absolutely nothing going on for you. So, you know, people are running around blaming sugar, blaming this, blaming that, but really a lot of times I find that they're just victims of erroneous information. I hear the music. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed talking to you all today. And please join Dr. Peter Glidden tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America, God bless Canada, and God bless you.